Everybody knows that Winston Churchill was one of the most decisive figures during the war in beating back Hitler and beating Nazi Germany. The war wrapping up in 1945, and a slightly lesser known fact is there was a general election in England that year. Winston Churchill lost. That's right, the voters, after he led them to victory in war, well, they did not return him to office. He screwed up his politicking even though he won the war. Now, I wonder if he could go back and do things differently. Hypothetically, would he have gone, I focused too much on that war thing and the beating Hitler thing. I should have probably focused more on, coming up with good campaign slogans and so forth in the general election so I could stay to power. Should have been doing more polling, that kind of stuff, right? No, of course not. I mean, who would even suggest such a thing? And we don't really talk about Churchill's 1945 election loss. We talk about the fact that he was the guy who beat Hitler. Right now, I'm a little concerned that there are a lot of politicians everywhere right now, particularly in Canada, who maybe don't know that anecdote, haven't reflected on it. Because the word on the street is Justin Trudeau, Doug Ford, others, they're really looking at the polls right now in terms of how they manage the coronavirus pandemic. Yes, I've heard that Doug Ford doing regular polls about his political prospects, how he's faring with the voters and so forth. Justin Trudeau as well. Look, I get there's always going to be a component of that, but are they really factoring polling into their daily decisions about this unprecedented moment in human history we're in right now, the mass lockdown of people that we experienced back in the spring? Seems like we're stepping more in that direction now, going back into it. Something that is very traumatic for many people on an economic front, psychological front, and more. And yet you mean to tell me these guys are going, oh, well, what do the decisions I make have to do with my re-election prospects? What? It's like you tell Churchill, okay, here's the deal. You beat Hitler. You save Western civilization, but you're going to lose the next election. Deal? I would like to think that any rational, sane person who actually loves their country and loves freedom would say, deal, because the victory is good enough. That is not happening right now in Canada, it seems, if they are as focused on the polls as I have been told that they are. You do what has to be done because you feel it is the right thing to do, to both work towards public health so that we beat back the coronavirus pandemic, but also so that we get into a situation where these lockdowns are not causing all these awful consequences that are happening right now, all of the heartbreak and all of the lost jobs and businesses closing and so forth. So it's really alarming to hear that polls are a part of this. I see these opinion columns, and I saw some in the Toronto Star, and I see there's panels on television where people are saying, oh, well, what are the voters thinking about this, and how should Trudeau appeal to this and that party? And guys, old style political strategy, time out. It's on hold. None of those old rules should apply anymore. Right now, if we're in a wartime situation, well, we got to handle it like Winston Churchill would.